to go ahead and storm the building because they're like, oh, now he's acting violent. I wonder if that could have been prevented. I really, truly do. And here's a situation where, again, America should have been on it. They should have been on the horn saying, hey, would you like a way to handle this? And I actually watched Sky News after a couple hours after the situation had ended. I was at some sort of training conference that I had to go to and had nothing to do with. And I'm sitting there watching it on my iPod. I got into the Wi-Fi and I'm eating and watching it. And this Australian analyst had said, well, we do it the exact same way the Americans would have done it. I have a hard time thinking that a guy who kept pacing back and forth in front of the window, you have a clear shot of him, you could have sniped him 10 times over. America would have just been like, yep, got him on my sights. What? Oh, hold off, he's still acting rational? Okay, I have a hard time thinking that that's how we would have handled it. I don't know anything about FBI or SWAT or the way they would have done it, but it just absolutely drove me bonkers seeing all this unfold and thinking, wow, it's just, I don't want to say that they're being incompetent, but it surely does seem that way.
Do you think a part of the problem of them relying on the government to solve this is the fact that guns are banned in Australia?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I absolutely do. I'm not saying that taking off a gun ban would, or getting rid of the gun ban would have 100% taken care of the situation, but it certainly would have helped. Everybody wouldn't have been so scared of the dude with the gun or with the gun in general. That's just how I kind of see the situation going. I mean, if guns aren't anywhere and you see a gun, you're going to freak out. And I know that when they did have a gun ban, violent crime just blew up. There were many attacks with knives, with baseball bats. And there was a story years ago, and it was in a rural part. Grandma had a shotgun. She was grandfathered in. Her grandmother didn't. And her granddaughter came home, blood all over herself, and finally, after pushing the girl, found out she'd been raped. So she grabbed her shotgun and, said, who is it, who is it? The girl told her, went and found the guy and shot him in the male parts.
Huh.
He did do it. She was pretty sure of that, so she did it, and when they arrested her and took her down to the jail, people were outside protesting for them to release her. I mean, there's definitely those kind of stories where you think, oh man, they actually can appreciate vigilante justice, whether or not it's right or wrong. I don't want to get into that debate or anything, but if you have a situation where you do have a gun to defend yourself, and where this is well known across your country, you're not going to necessarily be so afraid when a gun is presented. You're going to know what to do, whether or not you yourself are armed, because it's going to be more commonplace to you. And it's not that you should allow violence in and of itself to become commonplace in your society or in your way of thinking. It's a natural reaction to defend yourself, your family, people you love, and others who are innocent from violence. It's a tool you use in order to prevent that. It's an old saying, and I know it's so cliche, you don't take a knife to a gunfight. Now, in my case, you come busting through my door. I got a sword, because I think a sword will scare you more. But I got 3 of them by my bed. But, it's just one of those things where you can't help but ask that question. You definitely can't help but ask it. Boston Randy, unfortunately, Grandma broke the law there. Well, yeah, Grandma did break the law there. And she did, and again, I'm not saying vigilante justice is the way to go, but you definitely aren't going to mess with her granddaughter again. So that the whole thing does definitely upset me for those reasons. I just don't think they handled it properly. I would love to know how the other lady died. They said she died protecting her pregnant friend, but I wonder if we'll ever know whether or not she died in the crossfire or whether she was killed beforehand. I'm guessing she wasn't, because if he would have shot her beforehand, I would hope the authorities would have gone in right away. Maybe he shot her in retaliation for the brave individuals who ran out the back door, who were just, terrified and just decided, hey, we're going to make a run for it. So.
There's a comic book out there that's called The Unit. It's one of my favorite comic books. But basically what it is, it's about a group of, think Delta Force. It's the best way to describe it.
Okay.
And they get into the situations where if there is a terrorist situation or, a tactical situation, they're the ones who end up being involved in it. Do you think something like that is okay, or do you think that this is one of those things where it's better to have armed citizens as well as armed police?
If the police are armed, the citizens should be armed. That's as simple as that. Just because you have a nice little badge and an outfit does not mean that you get special privileges and rights. If you have the ability to fly off the handle, which I'm sure has happened, and I know it's happened for police officers that have been out of uniform, then a citizen should have the same right and ability to protect themselves. So absolutely, I've always been a believer that if the cops can have it, I should be able to have it. If the cops can have a rocket launcher, I should be able to have a rocket launcher. I would like to have a rocket launcher anyway, whether or not the cops can have it, on top of the tank I'm going to buy. But with that being said, absolutely, average citizens should be able to carry whatever the police are carrying. And I don't accept the argument of, well, if you have the same thing, then you can go after the police officers, and it's so many of you and few of them. I'm like, so many of me? It's like one of me. If I'm the one flying off the handle with, a certain weapon, I'm sure more than one police officer is going to show up to the situation. But if somebody's coming in my house and police is allowed to have an AR-15 to show up to the scene, I should be able to have that same AR-15 to defend myself, because I know that the average response time is 9 minutes? Anywhere between 9 and 13. I am not waiting for a cop to get there. You are your own first line of defense. Period. Regardless of whether you're in your home or whether you're in public.
So you're going to go medieval on someone before the cops can?
Yes. Yes.
I have to ask, what kind of swords?
It's hard to describe. Two of them are just sheer metal blades with cloth wrapped around them on the end, and they're really sharp. And I think if anybody comes in here and I meet them at the door with either one of those two swords, then yeah, they're gonna be scared. Hey, state of Ohio, you get 1 foot in my door, I have every right to use deadly force. That's just all there is to it. My other one is just your stereotypical kind of Japanese cool-looking sword.
I have a 14th century English warhammer, as well as a 3-foot-long broadsword that's a replica of Anduriel.
Nice.
And then I have a Beretta, an HK-45, and an M9.
Mm-hmm. Alan, host of Their Finest Hour, has talked about coming to Columbus, and we're going to go gun shopping.
Nice.
That would be great. We should all have like a VLR gun shopping day out. Pick up a few pieces, go to the range. Yeah.
The next gun I'm buying is going to be a long gun, but I have to save up for it.
Ah, okay. Okay. Yeah. I haven't decided which one I want. I really haven't. Probably a 9, maybe. We'll see. We'll see. My cat is like attacking me. I have an attack cat. I'll just throw the cat at whoever tries to come in here. I don't think that would have worked in the Sydney situation, but totally the cat. So let's talk a little bit more about terrorism because this is awesome. The first half hour. Do we need to take a break or can I get into the Sony situation?
It's best to, something we can take our break now. We can go early, and then you'll get half an hour to go into Sony and just the weirdness there.
Okay.
So, all right, you are listening to the Modern Comment Show with your guest host, Amanda McAllister. I'm Taylor Millard, who's pressing the buttons and making sure that we are on air. So we'll be back right after this here on Vigilant Liberty Radio.
Coming soon to Vigilant Liberty Radio. The Edge of Anarchy, Mondays on VLR.
Hi, I'm Dustin Hoyt with America Our Way, and you can hear me right here on Vigilant Liberty Radio at 10/9 Central on Thursday nights. We bring you the best in political commentary from the right-wing, conservative, libertarian perspectives coming together and bringing the best content on the internet. Be sure to tune in every week for your favorite shows. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
This is Vigilant Liberty Radio News from Independent Journal Review for Wednesday, December 17th. Recently released video of the interrogation of John Crawford's girlfriend shows that the police were attempting to coerce her into saying something. Crawford was killed in August by police while holding an airsoft rifle he picked up off a shelf in Walmart. In addition to grilling his girlfriend, police also resorted to threats of jail time and accusations that she was lying or on drugs. A grand jury decided not to indict the officer that shot Crawford, which caused his name to be added with the names of Michael Brown and Eric Garner in protests across the country. ISIS has taken to using a new kind of bomb in their offensives against opponents in the field: scorpion bombs. This is not the name of a new technology, but truth in advertising, since the bombs are filled with live poisonous scorpions. While this shows some degree of ingenuity, ISIS did not come up with this idea on their own. Scorpion bombs were used in Iraq before, during a war against the Roman Empire. On the other side of the war against ISIS, the U.S. is introducing a new bullet to the battlefield. Instead of just regular rounds, U.S. snipers will soon be able to use smart bullets that can sense laser sights, hitting where the laser is pointing. This means that U.S. snipers will have a much higher success rate when attempting to hit moving targets, assuming that they can keep the laser trained on their targets. This will be useful in attacking ISIS in the field, making it possible to hit small moving targets from a significant distance. Pennsylvania federal judge Arthur Schwab has determined that Obama's executive amnesty is unconstitutional. According to Schwab, the executive order goes, quote, beyond prosecutorial discretion. As a result of that, the order itself is unconstitutional. Schwab, who was appointed by President George W. Bush in 2002, also used Obama's own words against him, pointing out